find that link too.
Okay. All right, so we are live, and we give our people a little bit more time to jump in with us. Yo, good morning, happy Friday, my people. My name is Donnell Cole. I'm co-founder of the amazing nonprofit foundation, Modern Manhood Foundation. We have curated a safe space for men to come together and discuss some of the toughest challenges and barriers that prevent us from growing into the ideal life that we like to do it. And our mission here at Modern Manhood is to empower men with skills and tools to build and grow healthier communities, man. And every Friday we like to interview people that align with our mission, that are doing extraordinary things in the community. So, my brother Omari, and I'm not ruin your name, Ajanaku, is a father. He's an author. My man is heavily involved in the community. He is an artist. He is a creator. He is a thinker. Every single time I have a conversation with my brother, it's always about the expansion of ourselves, our identity, aligning with great things that heroes are called to create. You're big on family. I noticed that you pour a lot of energy into cultivating your family, grooming that, and that's one of the things I really proud about you. And give me just a minute before I'm gonna share this real quick. Make sure everybody is tapped in on our page and also in the man cave. My brother and my partner in crime is not gonna be joining me today, Damien, because he's out at the LU doing Tai Chi, which we was just having a conversation about that as well. Um, and seeing the dynamics of it and being a new author, Amari, bro, I want to congratulate you on your book because your book, A Letter
Same
to
here.
My Children, is amazing,
Yep.
amazing body of work. I love a lot of the poems. So, first, tell me about this because he interviewed me on he got to interview me on his podcast about being an author and the journey of that. And so now that you are an author, bro, tell me what does it feel like and what has been the response to the book, A Letter to My Children?
What is well first for having me, man, and for the kind words. I accept them. I accept them, and thank you for that. Um,
Absolutely.
what it's like to be an author? It's overcomplicated. It's I approached it as this grandeur scheme that needed 30 different checkpoints, and that's not it.
Yeah.
You get your ISBNs organized. That's the majority of it. You get a PDF version. That's the majority of it. You figure out if you want to do softback or hardback. That's the majority of it. And then I wanted to go a step further. I wanted that audiobook because I'm learning that people love to listen.
Yeah.
And then I find that I say it differently than versus a paid actor or actress. Because I speak intentionally with it and I know exactly how I want it to sound. So I just got in the booth for like 2.5 hours, and that was maybe the hardest part of it was projecting that voice consistently. If I made a
Yeah.
mistake,
You did
redoing
amazing.
it, it was
Yeah.
it was part of the journey, part of the process. It was
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah. What was the idea of it? So it's called A Letter to My Children. And
Right.
what made you want to do that? Like what was the purpose behind it? Like what made you want to go in this direction? Because you could write about many things. You
Mm.
seem like you're a brother of deep caliber when it comes to concepts, whether it's law, nonprofit, community, being African American, being a man,
Mm.
having a family. So you got
Mm.
a lot of different dynamics. You're vast when it comes to being abstract. So
Mm.
what is it that made you want to start with this one in regards to your journey?
I'm at the headspace now to where I'm getting my systems under control to where they can run without me. And then what am I leaving behind? Like intentionally. Like my wife and I even had this conversation yesterday. If I died tomorrow, how would you take care of the children? What am I leaving you behind?
Yeah.
Okay, the life insurance policy. Okay, well pretend that's not there. Then what? Well, then we have the book, equity of the film, and equity of the album too. But what else? And it
Yeah.
was that information that my kids can go on YouTube and listen to me say these things. They can look at the film. They can see, okay, this is the intention. This is like a how-to guide on if I follow this energy consistently. I'm not saying it's gonna be perfect, but more than likely, this is gonna be the outcome of it. And then the
Right.
album too, so where they can listen to the same poetry, but now it's over a beat. That the narrative and the context is a little different. It's easier to maybe
Right.
follow because I can ride around listening to it. So it's just providing that information, and so it wasn't intentionally toward my children, while at the same time everybody's children can listen to it. Everybody can listen to it because it's so
It's
relevant. And then
powerful.
across communities as well, it's some of the same issues. like success and career development, communication and relationships, and success, um, and things along that line as well.
What stood out to you most out of all of the concepts that you would say that you put in the book into the film? What is
Hmm.
first of all, what is three of the poems that you like the most?
Ooh, that birth of a man is sentimental. You got to listen to that birth of a man. That's it really caters to the single households, the single mother households where
Yeah.
that maturity, that masculine energy isn't quite developed in the most healthy way. It's more yanked out of you,
Right,
forced
yeah.
out of you. Then you get to, I'm ready to for my metamorphosis. It's right now. The energy is needed immediately.
That's
It's almost
powerful.
a traumatic experience between that metamorphosis too. Um, the blue eyed doll is powerful because it ties into the black inferiority complex and
Mm.
images we see intentionally on TV screens and in movies and TV shows and books. Uh, the third one, the reality. The reality
Tell me
is a
tell me
really
about that.
the reality. It it addresses entertainment. It addresses intent when it comes to relationships.
Mm.
It addresses how a lot of the things we allow our kids to watch is a lot of the things that created them to be in that context in the first place.
Absolutely.
And so it's that all the way around that this is why we're here. This is what feeds into it, and now we're just following the cyclical pattern of it all that leads us back exactly to where we are right now, except for the next generation. So now it's perpetual.
Yeah, man, it becomes like a hamster wheel. It
Yeah.
does, bro. You know, the interesting thing about it, like I've been reading this book lately about attention because I'm writing my dissertation on the power of attention and the role it plays in our lives and how unconscious we are on how many behaviors, whether they serve us or not, but
Mm,
the, how it contributes to the aspect of reality. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? Because a lot of stuff that we are fed that we don't even know about, it definitely plays a role in our intention. It
mm,
plays a role in how we see the world. It plays a role in how we identify in our relationships.
mm,
And it can literally, like, you can literally live your whole life not being who you are supposed to be, regardless if you feel like it serves you or not, you know? So it's really interesting the dynamics that you play on it. I think it's the reason why I value like the art that you did so much
mm,
because the just sitting and thinking and taking that relationship with yourself and saying, hey man, you know what? I really want to broadcast something on a larger scope that allows people to think about it. Like thinking about what you're thinking about is really a huge thing because you start to see how much is going on in life that just does not serve us. You know,
mm,
whether it be health, whether it be relationships, which is a big part of our life, or whether it be our well-being. You know, we
mm.
talk about well-being a lot in this life. I like the first point. Let's dive back into that first point with
Okay.
the metamorphosis, the masculinity, and then
Yeah.
being raised by single mothers, bro. Because I was raised by a single mother, of course, teenage mother at that, gave
Yeah.
birth at the age of 14,
Yeah.
right? And when she gave birth to me, she almost died. And I had two other brothers, and one of the narratives that she would always tell me about is it was hard, but she always wanted to be harder because she was like, I need to raise black boys in America, and I know it's not going to be easy for you all. So even the thing that was driving her to raise us in a certain way wasn't from necessarily a heavy, like a safety, but more of
Mm,
like, I need to protect you and I need you to be hard and I need you to be tough. And so
yeah.
let's talk about that role because it is traumatic when you look at some of the different aspects of what that means to grooming a man and the
Mm,
idea of what you should be as a man. What
yeah.
does that mean in regards to the context of your book?
Well, the context I take it around is the difference between a boy and a man and how they treat our women, our powerful, beautiful women. I noticed, like I wrote in it, my uncle is 6'4", 235, 240. So he had a certain presence when he was with us. It was a certain bubble, a certain boundary, and I documented that. And when it was just me, that bubble was non-existent. It was a hesitation,
Mm,
but it was like a comfortability to where, what's the worst that's gonna happen? So it's in their eyes, it's women and children. And so really, it's being that protector. I had to fill a role that I was meant to feel. I didn't feel ready to feel, but then I forced myself to feel it. And now, at the age I am now, I'm going back and kind of reworking those edges. I'm really rough on the edges.
Mm,
My people skills aren't the best in certain contexts. When it's when it's convenient, I'm a great person when it's convenient. But my true nature comes out when things has to get done. When it's an emergency, things need to be moved with influence. While at the same time, I hurt feelings inadvertently. I ruffle feathers inadvertently. And so that's the balance I'm working. And I think we talked about this in the last podcast episode is the imposter syndrome and kind of finding that balance.
yeah.
Yeah,
Me and Damon talk about that, the significance of showing up as your most authentic self, man. And even then, so let's talk about so that role of masculinity. Are you saying like this ideal figure of how your uncle presented himself is how you identified with masculinity in life?
it was the presence for me. It was the presence. Um, I really didn't know what a man was. I got a lot of different models from my uncle, my brother's father. He came for a short period. Mufasa on Lion King. It was a
Mm,
lot of different areas I pulled from, and then I just kind of forced it. It was fragmented, and I forced it to
yeah,
be in this puzzle that didn't quite fit. And then as I went through my undergrad at Langston, they kind of helped me settle in. They kind of look,
yeah,
you're okay. Then I went to UCO, and it's like you're okay, but only when your work is great.
yeah,
You're amazing. You're important, but only when you do what we want you to do. All the extra stuff, that personality and that confidence, you can do away with that. And so then it
right.
was now I have kids,
Interesting.
and it was it was
So
beautiful,
it
man. I wouldn't
became
change it.
y- it's a lot of amazing people I see that come from Langston at HBCU and how it shapes you in a distinct manner that makes you feel empowered versus
Mm,
other culture that makes you feel like we can do away with the cocky, the arrogance, the will
yeah,
to exert your sense of passion and purpose,
yeah,
unless it serves a particular objective that someone else can benefit from.
yeah. Or it's
you
predictable.
know, yeah,
Yeah,
it's an institution. It frames you within the context of what they find and they identify as acceptable, and that can be difficult. It can be very difficult,
mm,
very challenging. Yeah, we had a interview with Dr. Jonathan Solomon, and he talked about that,
mm-hmm,
how it's like to be in the community and migrate to different circles and how it
mm-hmm.
shapes you and how it makes you feel. And I was
Yep,
thinking about that in terms of like psychological sense of belonging and what that
mm,
means for a person and having to be that goes back to living a whole life that you don't feel like is really you
mm,
and what experience that brings, or the fact that you can never truly have all life has to offer if you don't accept yourself,
mm,
because there's a fragmented aspect of yourself you're giving to the world. So how can you experience all the world has to offer if you're not even showing up as all of you are, right? And so that's interesting. I was having a conversation with my daughter about this yesterday. She's getting pretty deep on me.
he said she's ready.
All right. Yeah, man. I have really interesting conversations with my kids, man, especially around the idea of honoring yourself, because I
Mm,
think it's been a struggle for me in certain forms of fashion. Dealing with poverty and having an abundant dream, but living with a scarcity mindset. You know what I'm saying? Or even having huge dreams and getting around certain relationships and recognizing exactly how it makes me feel in terms of how I view myself versus how they view me.
that sounds
But
like a
I have
caterpillar's
been
dream.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, trying to look and identify and see how other people are doing. I think it'd be dangerous. So we talk about that. It's just like in masculinity, bro. I had a conversation because I've been doing inner child meditations lately,
Okay.
and I've looked at how I perceive masculinity in different parts of my life. So was molested, by men when I was younger with my brothers. And so we went through a deep traumatic experience. And one of my brothers is actually locked up for something that happened to one of his kids that was really dope. That was really just sad. But seeing the reality of that, guys that my dad dated, they was very abusive. So just being beat on and stuff like that. Neglect, emotional neglect. And so
Yeah.
it was like younger, and then man, witnessing a murder. One of the first mentors I had that was like a father figure. One day was at a spot and he got murdered. So it
Mm,
was like seeing strong masculinity be demeaned or being
Yeah.
destroyed, even in its purest form, was difficult. So it seemed like every man that I saw that I idolized was not a good leader. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? And so for me, it was kind of difficult. So as I grew up, and now I'm grateful that I was able to see the perception of great leadership and be able to pull from, good people like yourself, right? Like my homeboy Cody Madison, Damon is an amazing father, right? And seeing men be vulnerable, see men take pride in healing, see men actually be who they're called to be without the confinements of what that looks like in the eyes of other people. And I think it just makes you feel a lot more empowered to be able to show up in a greater context.
That sounds like the poem "Too Good to Be True." When we talk about
To,
having
yeah.
models like yourself, it's too good to be true. There's no way. That's what it really is.
Mm.
It's society being honest and being comfortable with being honest. You know, they say those type of things in roundabout ways. Oh, you sure are outspoken. Uh, this roundabout with the poem, I went directly to it. It's too good to be true. I listed off why you're supposed to be doing this. How could you be doing this? It's too good to be true. This, and this. It's too good to be true. And
Yeah.
so when they listen to it, I think it'll make a lot of sense. It'll make a lot of
Man,
sense to
I
them.
wish I should talk to Damon. We're gonna splice some of this in, bro. We're gonna have to splice some of this in
Okay.
and do a listening section one day. I think we should do, matter of
Woo.
fact, what we can do is a man cave meetup. Listen about it.
Okay.
That's what we should do. A man cave meetup and just play different aspects and talk about what people hear when they see it.
Ooh.
Because what I see, bro, think about it. It's like Obama,
Mm,
right? Too good to be true. The perfect family. We got to
mm,
find some dirt on him. He speaks well.
mm,
He has value. He has character. And I don't mean it in the context of propaganda, because I know people can do all that when it comes to politics. But I mean the idea of presence,
mm,
right? You have to be this exemplified over the top to even be acceptable in this manner. And
mm.
it's so contrary to the way that Q says she wants to hear the poem too. Oh, okay. Well, we can broadcast it and you can hear the poem. That's cute. Q, what's up? Good morning.
Yeah.
She says she want to hear the poem. Are you open to doing one of your poems? Do you have your material where you can do one of them?
Yeah, give me a couple seconds to organize. I got it. Which one are you interested in?
Okay. You want to hear that one, Q? Let me know. Because he just mentioned three of them off top. He just mentioned three of them. So that's three of them that he mentioned. So, and I got some other stuff, and we got some time. Like, I want to talk about the law organization. I definitely want to talk about your peace nonprofit as well. So, man, we definitely got some things we want to hook up. Healthy rising, healthy rising.
Oh, yeah, I got the book pulled up, so I'll put that to the side. When
Perfect,
it's time, it's time.
perfect, perfect. So let me know when you want to do that, and then we'll continue on. We'll go with the rest of the facts. So let's get into this law organization, bro. How
Okay.
did you get affiliated with law?
Ooh.
Um,
Okay.
how was it shaped the way you perceive the world? And what does it mean to the nature of being who you are today and being a black man in America? What does it mean?
I mean, we'll go through them.
Okay.
My grandmother was watching Law and Order one day, and in passing, it really didn't pique my interest. But when they started to piece together the the first scene with a few of the details left in it, and then with the next one, and then personal testimony, and then they have physical evidence now. It, I said, this is it. And I was what,
Uh,
13, 14. I said, this is it.
crazy.
This is it. This is it for me. And so I just started working toward that. And as I got older and more mature, I found out how impactful it is in our community and how it was used to
Mm.
destabilize the home so other people could come in the roundabout way when the mother or guardian or father will be at work. And so I just found out that that's really the foundation of it all. Um, and I even say this to the people. A lot of people say that's racist. That's called bigotry. There's a big difference between racism and bigotry. Racism
No, let's
is
discuss.
paperwork. It's paperwork. Racism is legislation. It's ordinances. It's rules that people can use to punish you according to that paper and it be justified. Bigotry is I don't like that person because of this, whatever emotional or
Mm.
reason they have. I'm not saying it's not justified or wrong. It's on a case by case basis, but that's something you have to look at internally. For instance, racism is making it illegal for you to read or write. by
Absolutely.
law. By law, that's racism. Bigotry is I don't like them because their music's too loud, or they dated somebody in my family, or I had a traumatic experience, and now I feel this way about them, and I won't move off and budge off this my feelings. That's bigotry. We got to make sure that we use those words responsibly, because then
Mm.
it can almost take the substance away from our messages and our intent, because we're coming incompetent and naive.
What do you think about that in context of the law that's lobbying certain historical material?
I mean, not the same. It's in the same context. You know, you can teach American history, Oklahoma history, U.S. history, world history, but then critical race theory has to get removed. I said we gotta you gotta stand on something. Either no history whatsoever, and we stick to geography, and then you can do your own individual research as a family and as a community, or you let everything through the floodgates and just step back and say, you this is the curriculum. You teach what you're gonna teach, but I won't intentionally omit anything. That's what I'm saying. A lot of it's an intentional omission of things that just so
Mm.
happen to benefit us the most, and we gotta acknowledge that and embrace that reality, and then take consistent measures to counterbalance
I like that. I like that a whole lot, bro. That makes total sense. I think about that in the idea of how it shapes conditioned belief systems,
it.
such as Christopher Columbus, right?
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, it's not to say that it's not history, and it's not to say that it's not American history,
Mm.
but whenever you tell it in proper context and allow yourself to really identify with the authentic truth of that particular story and what it means to how we move in reality. It's just like Black Wall Street. You
Mm.
know, you can't talk about equity. You can't talk about black prominence, black excellence without
Mm.
uncovering some of the lower aspects of human nature within it as well. You just can't, because a lot of what we do in life in regards to power, in regards to economics, especially if you're talking about accumulation and you talk about legacy, you can't
Mm.
talk about that without talking about this, because there's so many measures of our growth and leadership that comes from a lot of early ancestral aspirations. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And so whenever we talk about it, it's like, man, let's talk about all of it. That way you
Yeah.
can get a well-rounded understanding of what you're really dealing with. It's just like you showing up in the game, right? What up, Willie Mack? Hey, bro, definitely let us know when we can come on. And we need to get you over here too, bro. We're gonna chop it up. It's just like saying this. I didn't want to lose my train of thought. Oh, it's just like this. Whoever tells the narrative controls the game,
Mm.
right? And I hear people say, "Well, I get mad because Amazon or these billionaires ain't paying taxes." I'm like, they know the game,
Yeah.
but it's different whenever you get to have lobbyists, right? And you can control the game.
Yeah.
Like hemp
Yeah.
being really big in early history, right? Hemp was huge. Now, you know, you get locked up for marijuana. For a point in time, we got mass incarceration, which allows
Mm.
racism and, you know, to actually direct the game how it should be. So for
Mm.
those who benefit, you got to be on one side of the spectrum, and it's always at the expense of someone else.
All right.
And so that's why I think when it comes to law, it's so important. So I like the fact that you're passionate about it, because it's not also the conversation that we have, like in our culture, unless
Yeah.
you're an attorney, you know, or unless you get in trouble. And it's more reactive than it is proactive. So I like the way you
Ooh.
think. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that is, bro. And it's a defensive mechanism. I think that when we talk about in terms of scarcity or poverty, it is one of the things that prevent us from being able to identify with power,
Mm.
because you have to know it's like this is a power game. We live in a power world. It is definitely an aspect of the dimension that we live in. And I
Mm.
didn't realize it until I started seeing a lot of things going on. Like my little brother got in trouble with the law. And I was like, well, let's get a lawyer. Then you start to see our attorneys are moving. Like, okay, all attorneys are not the same. You know,
Yeah.
I got one of my closest friends as a judge. Amazing, right? She gives me insight. And I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
so it's really not like this, you know? So hearing her story, and she's a black judge, and
Mm.
hearing her story and how she is treated in certain courtrooms around certain individuals. And I'm like, okay, we're not in this world. So there's so much we don't know, and you don't know until you actually have to identify with it, you know?
Yeah. I would say prevention, um, and that's some of the things we help with. You know, I got to give the disclaimer: I'm a paralegal. I'm not a lawyer. The biggest difference is You get access to databases of past cases, and you have the legislative power. You can demand things to happen in a timely and realistic, timely fashion. But the power,
Mm.
your pen is a little bit more impactful because your bar is certified. Um, Another thing I would tell people is the communication is protected by what they call a lawyer client privilege, which means
Mm-hmm.
by law they can't give that information. Whereas if
Interesting.
me and you talk about something and I get subpoenaed, I have to come off that, because if they find out that I knew and didn't tell, that's perjury, and that's not
Right.
anything anyone wants. That's not anything anyone wants. The things we offer: criminal justice navigation, which is essentially, this is where we are now. What do we need to do? A lot of people don't realize that your public defender works for the state. Their best
Absolutely.
interest is to get you to take a plea deal so the prosecution rates go high. That's how they level up, and that's how they built their career, from prosecutor to district attorney, from
That's
Congress to Senate, House of
crazy.
Representative. So if you took a plea deal, it was by design. Um, it was by design, because now you have probation. Yeah, you get out, but and this here's a story everybody realized. The Meek story, when he popped the willie and he went to jail. He did violate his probation. He broke a city ordinance, and by the paperwork he signed, that's violation of his. That's violation.
Right.
So technically, they did the right thing. Is just make sure we understand that paperwork, legal
Yeah.
research, that too. And I have a dual bachelor's from UCO in criminal justice and forensic science. So crime scene examination, I can do crime scenes really well from the chain of custody, and that's how they handle evidence to make sure the seals are intact. So if someone opened this, they can't reopen a seal. Everything has to be new and labeled and dated in the organization that opened it. When it comes to just minute and small things like that, latent prints versus patent prints. What was the timeline like? What was the and now we have technology so well. So that's the biggest thing I would tell people with that organization. My job is to make sure your public defender works for you, and we hold them
That's
accountable
dope,
for
man.
what they say in the paperwork they give us.
That's interesting. How important is representation in regards to the law?
It's not as important as people think. If you do your own research and you stay
Mm.
preventative, don't react, because it's already too late if you react.
Yeah.
You got to prevent. You got to kind of understand. Okay, these are the local, the certain ordinances. An ordinance is like a local rule. So if Oklahoma City would be a local rule, versus this being the law, this being a statute. And so just being familiar. I'm not saying go get a book and read
Right,
from,
right, right. Yeah, it's
big
important.
thick manual. It's just every now and then let me brush up, and then
Yeah.
every now and then what's the difference between reasonable suspicion and probable cause? What does that look like? What is that in
These
actuality? What does it look like?
these are conversations we need to be having more often. So maybe
Yeah,
we need to have like a segment once a week in the group, bro. Because I think it's important. We don't think about it. One of
yeah.
my friends was a firefighter. He said, can your kids get to the front door with their eyes closed?
Mm,
And I was like, no, I didn't even think about that. He was like, yeah, you don't think about it, but if there's a fire, they should be able to get to the front door with their eyes closed. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I could. But
yeah.
being able to be preventive, like we did the CPR
Mm,
class, I would have never even thought about CPR if it wasn't for Dr. Damon. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I like to have relationships so we can level up, bro. Without skills, we
come
cannot
on.
level up. And I like the fact that every new skill you take opens a new reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful. Okay, so we got legal out the way. Y'all let me know if y'all got any questions, man. All right, peace. First nonprofit. Talk to me about it.
Oh, that's the vocational skills like interviewing, how to set up a digital meeting because it's free through Google. Um, Gmail, how to dress for an interview, how to send follow up calls or emails. Google Drive. That's also the career development. What's the 5 year plan? What's a 10-year plan? And then let's work our way back to we are
Mm,
present tense. And then that's the emotional and mental counseling. Unlicensed though, I gotta say that. I
that's
say that
powerful.
because that client, we don't have that client therapist privilege, which means our communications are protected. And so, really, it would just be as cordial as a conversation like this. I actually had a conversation with my mother yesterday, and we talked about baggage and letting go of things, and stop searching for
Mm,
something you already have. Stop searching for something you already have. Look internally, you already have it. And so, it's just addressing the needs in the community that I feel aren't, and I feel we're deprived of, and until we have to react. I have
Right.
a child on the way. Now I got to get my stuff together. Well, how about we get that together 10th grade year? We make that a culture. Ninth and eighth, ninth, 10th grade year. We already have the 20-year vision, and it's fluid. It's subject to change, but at least we have something to go off of
Man.
that we can bounce left or right on.
Tell me about, okay, why is it that you feel like we don't? Why is it so much? I think because maybe we've been accustomed to making it day by day,
Hmm.
right? Like when I was growing up, mom was like, as long as the bills pay, we can turn up. So I think a
Yeah,
lot of my this early development was like, yo, the bills paid, let's go get some cake. You know what I'm saying? Go
yeah,
get a few bottles and let's just
yeah,
squander it.
yeah,
And I was like, my bills paid. And I felt like, yo, if my bills was paid, I'm straight. And
yeah.
then it came to a point, it was like, oh, and I became a financial advisor and I got around millionaires. I'm like, yo, these cats got
Mm.
wills and trusts. I ain't never heard of a will or trust, in early development. Invest in the stock market, compound interest, like never heard
Woo.
about this type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
really investing more than just saving. And the sense of inadequacy when you talk about baggage, student loan debt or just been
Mm.
renting for a great part of my life before I was like, okay, I got to build equity. I got to
Yes.
save. I need to diversify. Like I really need to be passive income is really big in my livelihood. Like how can I automate this and how can I get my money working for me instead of working for myself? And a lot
Mm.
of that does come with having the vision. So coming from your background and you recognizing the needs of the community, where was the shift for you when you said, I want to actually build this business etiquette, economics? How did that transfer over to the things that you felt in meeting that need?
I think one of my skills is thinking as other people. I put myself in those
Mhm.
shoes and I say, what did I need? Because most likely, whatever we need, the vast
Somebody
majority
else
needs.
needs your
Yeah.
facts.
So really, it's just okay. What do I love to do? What am I willing to spend all my money on that can progress the next person, the next person's family, as well as my own? And I put a nonprofit behind it, filed with the state, or I put a LLC behind it, filed with the state. So it's really just things I love to do, my hobbies that I just turned into something legitimate, turned into something that I could pass on to the next person, let alone my family. It's really just
Yeah.
what can I do to benefit the next person? And that's that you said legacy. I came out with a new song called Legacy, and it really touches on that. I asked, where's your ISBN? Where's your proof? What did you say versus what you did you do? How they speak at your grave, and what did you do versus what did you say? So it's really intentional question. The beat is bumping too. It's just really intentional questions that people can come away from. Like, what is the legacy? How are they gonna speak about me on my grave? You know,
Absolutely.
what am I doing? What I say? Because if not, that's cognitive dissonance. And and
Absolutely.
and we gotta. It's time to hold each other more accountable. Put the emotions to the side for a second. You don't got to cut them off necessarily. Put them to the
Right.
side. Address what you need to address. Then bring them back at the end and say, "This is how I felt and why," and kind of break that down.
Yeah, man. All right, Q, appreciate you tapping in with us. Definitely, definitely. She said she mother duties. I got to get back on this to the poem. Perfect. Man, what does that mean? So those two, cognitive dissonance and imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
Let's have a
yeah,
conversation about those two.
yeah. Imposter syndrome, like a real world experience, is I graduated from Guthrie, and then I went to Langston, and Langston really showed me. I mean, I grew up at Langston from an early age, so I saw it early. I saw it, but to
What was
be
some
of
differences
age,
for people that don't know? What's the differences between those two?
Guthrie and Langston.
Hmm.
Guthrie's more of the rural country, more of the it's mostly Caucasian.
Hmm.
It's stagnant. It's a great place to settle down. Just understand if you leave and come back 40 years from now, it's gonna look the same. Maybe a few more buildings, some new paintings,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be the same. Um, Langston, because I grew up in Langston. Langston is country. It's a certain level of self resilience you have to really flourish out there, because who are you gonna call?
Hmm.
Um, and I went out there, so I saw the campus and the countryside. But when I went to actual the campus and really went into buildings and spoke to professors, it's it was it empowered me to show me what is possible. I can see it on the internet, but to look at you, to look at a doctor,
Yeah.
to look at a professor, to look at somebody who's making decisions and them telling me at the same time This is what you're able to do, and these are the things that you can do to do it. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's gonna increase the likelihood of it happening on a consistent basis.
Right.
It was really healthy for me. And then I'm walking with that into UCO, where it's like, whoa, you know how a bouncer put their hand on your chest? It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, what are you doing? Because I sat in the front of all my classes. I'm paying for it. I
Yeah.
need to have full access to this information. And then I'm downloading the PDFs too, because I'm gonna reteach the information I'm paying for, and I'm gonna rewrite it and put that in some type of maybe a free book or some type of downloadable content to where I paid for it, I
Yeah.
earned it. I need you to have it. I need you to have it. You don't even got to pay me for it. It's yours. That way, because the better you are, is the better I am. Because I'm a die.
Right. Each
I'm gonna
one
die
teach one.
soon.
Yes.
Come on. So it was, and back to that the imposter syndrome is, who am I really? And so I would start writing it down. Who am I when I'm surrounded by my family? Who am I surrounded by my friends? Who am I when I'm
Mm,
alone? And who am I in different contexts, and how do I react to different situations in those contexts? And I had to start connecting the dots and aligning it and finding out where the deficit was, and putting intentional energy and resources toward that deficit. And I started to find myself to be so well rounded, so well
yeah.
spoken, so confident, so intellectual, to where it's too good to be true. And so
Right.
that's really, yeah. So that's where that really came from. And then that cognitive dissonance is, do I live my testimony? That's really what that comes down to. Do you live your
Yeah,
testimony?
man.
Oh, I can go on the corner of MLK with my loudspeaker and say, "We the people. We need to do this." And then I go in my car and go back to the house, and it's like, whoa. So what I do is I take my behind the scenes and put that on Front Street. So if people want to dig
Right.
into what something's got to be wrong with them. He can't be. Well, I'm showing you everything I'm doing behind the scenes. It's too
Right.
good to be
Yeah.
true. Too good to be true. Can be.
Man, the crazy is like it's kind of opposite in society. We have this
Mm,
fabrication on social media that allows us to just we could just post anything and it could look in the
yeah.
most elegant manner when our
Yeah.
household is like literally not in order.
Yeah.
And then we also got a society that lets you be passive about some of the most important things in life to the grave.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like it's really self-responsibility to be able to show up as your best self, man. I did a focus group with one of my coaches today, just with a meal plan. And as I'm right now, he's asking me these questions. I'm like, man, I know how to eat. I know my triggers. I know my behaviors. I know what I should be doing. And a lot of us are like that. A lot of us know what we should be doing, and we have the knowledge, but we don't apply it. But I told him, I said, man, I've been keeping this promise to myself year after year, and I've really exceeded and made some amazing results and goals at different aspects of my life. But then I know in other parts, I toggle back and forth. But I said, I really recognize the role in me keeping my word to myself. And
mm,
he said, man, if you want to be confident, keep your promise to yourself.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like really show up as the man you know you could and the person that you and this applies to everybody. Show up as the person that you really know you can be, and you will be the most confident. When you can vouch for the words that you know
Mm,
and identify and be consistent with it, brother,
mm,
there's nothing more empowering than that. Me knowing that I can show up for the word that I give myself makes me feel the best. But whenever
mm,
I don't, I can feel insecure. And I told my wife that, like, if I tell her something I don't show up, that's my bad. I gotta hold myself accountable because I deserve better, not just for you, but even for myself. I
right.
deserve better for me, right? That's real, bro. When did you what was in you that made you want to dissect different constructs within your life to
Mm-hmm.
get to that raw, purest form of where you know you should be?
Learning to play chess at an early age, kind of seeing, experiencing trauma, and then I just got something in me that's just, I like being alone with a blank piece of paper and a pen, and I like to just write things down. Even if I know the answer to a question, I'll still write it down, and I'll still write the answer, and I'll embed it into
Interesting.
myself, and I'll beat it into
Yeah.
my head, put it on the mirror where I can see it, text it to myself so I wake up in the morning with it, and I just beat it into myself and ingrain it into myself, and then I can give it consistent action too. So now the mental
Yeah.
aspect, now it's the physical
Yeah.
aspect, the spiritual aspect, and just spending time by myself in isolation. Too much is bad for me, kind of like dairy products, but the right amount,
Yeah.
man, I come out rejuvenated. I
Oof.
come out uh, strong. My kids run to me, I pick them up, and it's that coming out that all right, I have enough. Too much, I'm gonna start to maybe be melodramatic on certain things, and then I start to beat myself up too much.
Yeah.
But the right amount of looking at it, the right amount of writing it down, of manifesting it. Actually, this conversation, I think I sent you a message last year in November, and even months before that, I was manifesting and writing it down, and that's how I'm gonna reach out and send that message, and then here we are now. I do that across more things in your life, and I mean you see the results here.
Yeah, bro, that's dope. That's real. When I think about it, bro, because you pulled off a
Hmm.
pretty big project. What up, KG? What up, Tim? Mr. Gates? You pulled off a really big project, bro. And I was thinking about that. A film and a book. And it sounds like an album too. So you have an
Yeah,
album in the works as well. The project, like these are really big projects, bro.
yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't just like subpar. Like they are really
Mm,
detailed, really intricate. You could tell it was a lot of concentration focus that was put behind it,
yeah,
and like really massive projects. No one says I'm going to just put out a film, right? Like I mean, people may, but think about it, bro. Like
yeah.
a person might say I'm gonna write a book. I know a lot of people that's been talking about writing books for a long time.
Mm,
But to really exert your willpower to pull off something monumental like that, to say,
yeah,
I really want to have something for my family or my kids to be able to go back and play. Like when I wrote my book, From Living the Legacy, people were just asking me, bro, how did you come from the hood in this life, in this background to getting to where you are now? And I was like, dang, you know what? I don't think there's a lot of books that really show us how to navigate different barriers
mm,
to be able to really excel in coming into the scope of your greatness.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We have like Think and Grow Rich, but it's not like from yo, I'm in poverty. I identify with this. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Drugs, alcohol, abuse. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Lower vibrational circumstances,
yeah,
survival mentality, right?
yeah,
Being triggered by and recognizing what role that plays in sensory perception, where you're
woo,
not seeing things as they are. You're seeing things through the lens of your own prejudice, through the lens of your own um defenses, right?
mm-hmm,
And it's difficult to show up and experience the best of life if you don't feel worthy of it, or if you don't feel like you're in a safe universe. You just literally can't, because your heart is so closed, right? You're
yeah,
so protective. And so like when I listen to some of the work that you're doing and actually being about it despite who's on board, because you're just like, I'm gonna get it, you're a doer, bro. I
yeah.
like that about you. I really do like that about you. What do you think has been the biggest impact so far with everything that you've been putting out?
Um, the book, film, album, the biggest impact. Uh, is being coming to people and saying, look, tell people what it isn't, and tell people what it is. Tell them the vision. And you have great people around you. People want to contribute. They just want to be asked. Not a lot of people want to show a lot of initiative, and that's not
Yeah.
necessarily right or wrong. That's just within themselves, and they have to find the answer to that. I do have I do have initiative. I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna keep calling. I'm gonna keep emailing.
Facts.
I'm gonna keep reminding you. I didn't forget. I ain't say nothing in a while. I didn't forget. I'm gonna keep at it. And so that's just maybe it's delusion of grandeur, but the grandeur happens. What would you call delusion of grandeur, but the grandeur happens?
Mm. This is a
That's what I
Damon
have.
question.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
this.
what that's what I have a lot of.
Yeah,
I see it. I
you
just
get it.
go ahead, go ahead.
You get it done. I see that you're deeply intuitive, especially in regards to the subconscious mind.
Yeah. Oh man.
That writing.
Um, and I picked up on this recently. Is yeah, food plays a part in the diseases that we have. Also, what are you watching? What are you around? How do you look in the mirror? What do you stress about? All that stuff can have, if not more, impact on your health and diseases that you get more so than even the food we eat. And so it's
Yeah,
being really intentional with that. Is what am I listening to? I really don't listen to music like that. I love beats. I love like classical music. I love 97.7, the smooth jazz. It's being intentional with what I'm letting in, because
yeah,
it's going to vicariously, inadvertently play a part into my how I communicate, how I dress, how I deal with people, and how I talk to my children, which is their subconscious when they get older. So just being
yeah.
intentional around that stuff.
Absolutely. And that's like me. People like, who you going for? Who you betting on in the game? I'm like, bro, I'm the wrong person to ask, bro. Because I don't be watching TV that much. It has to be my wife would be like, hey, babe, you need to watch this. It's funny. Then I may watch it. Or if it's like I just need to pull back a little bit because I've been so consumed with these books and everything that I'm always like too spiritual and I'm no physically good at all. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? So then I pull back like, yo, bro, it's cool to mingle and build and to unite with different people in regards to union breaking bread.
yeah.
So, bro, for people, well, make sure we touch on everything before we get ready to wrap up. Show people how they can find you.
Oh man, the website omariaa.com. It has the podcast. It has the entertainment company. It has the nonprofit vocational. It has the law firm, well, no, law organization. Excuse me, I gotta be careful with that verbiage. The Black
Yeah.
Excellence Gallery. It has the
Dang, we need to talk
suicide,
about that,
the homicide
bro.
hotline. I mean the homicide hotline is somebody asked me a question, and I think they're being sarcastic, but I took it as actual. They said, "How come it's not a homicide hotline?" I think they said something about J. Cole talked about it as one for mental health. It's one for gender identity. It's one for
Mm,
like pills and prescriptions. What about that? And so I just looked at myself in the mirror and said, Google has numbers that you can use. Strip one of those off of Google, attach it to my phone, to where it's really a preventative resource. Maybe that maybe that person's on edge and they just need
interesting.
that one conversation. And that number is 405-254-6557. And it's, look, do you really want to go through with this? Well, you sound hesitant. Well, let's talk about it. Why? And it's
Yeah.
simple as that. It's simple as
It's
that.
talking them off the edge.
Talking them off the edge, and then from there, just follow ups. That's
Yeah.
follow ups. You know what? We talked, last week. I just want to check up on you. Here's some information, maybe a quote that I saw, a video I saw. Might shoot them some music, because the music I
Yeah.
make is personal testimony, just with a beat that people can bump to. People really don't want to listen to
Yeah.
testimonies and my people. We no, I just put it over a beat. I just put it over a beat, so it's easily digestible. And then if they want more, well, we have the book. If they want a little bit more, we have the
Yeah.
film, because the film is silent, and that's for
Yeah.
a
I
really
like it.
intentional person. You gotta be really intentional with that film, because I
Yeah.
designed it so we can talk about the film while you watch it. That's the purpose
Yeah.
of
I
why I want
like
it to
it.
be silent.
I like it,
It's
bro. I
engaged. I want
like
that
it.
engagement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
dope.
the Black Excellence Gallery, man, I've scoured the internet, and I still scour, and I find images that we don't. For instance, how often do we know a doctor that teaches Tai Chi and yoga?
Bro,
That's a
I do now. I mean,
Yeah.
Damon,
There
but
we
it's
go.
people that don't know what Tai Chi is.
Exactly. So that's the type of
You know,
things
we
I
talk
pull
about
from.
yeah, we talk about meditation practices. Me doing meditation, talking to other people. Like, I got a dream journal. I'll talk about breaking down your
Yeah.
dreams and understanding what they're telling you, being able to create that union with the subconscious mind, to see
Yeah.
the unconscious. You know, we talk about a lot about that stuff. That's actually our first conversations between me and Damon was around. I was like, Tai Chi, really? I was
Yeah.
like, interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you a nerd, you know? But it's
Yeah.
like energy work, bro. Sadhguru has
Yeah.
this the Mr. Sadhguru has this saying. He says that if you can control the physical aspect of your life, he says then the Lord it says something like the universe will bend to your will by 20%. He
Mm,
says that if you can control the mental aspect of your life, then the universe will bend to your will maybe 50%. He
mm-hmm.
says, if you can do both of those, maybe it would bend 80%. But he said, if you can understand how to control energy, your energetic being, he was
Mm,
like, life will render to you 100% times fold over. And when
mm.
I heard that, I was like, what is the nature of really controlling the energy in your life? Like, what does that look like? Really
Uh,
recognizing that for what it creates. And I was thinking, like, it's a big premise,
yeah.
especially in
The,
creation.
the master yourself. I heard a quote: "Master yourself, and the world will come to you." And so I've really just been being intentional with that consistent energy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're gonna have to come back and do another interview, man. I think understanding like how to write out a vision, how to unload baggage. These need to be really, really, solid questions.
Yeah.
How to be consistent, bro, and
Woo.
really doing, because you do a lot of work, and I think you dropped a lot of tools on how to do the work. Because for a lot of us, I know for me, man, it's more than a conversation. Like, how do
Mhm.
you really go in and do that work that prevents us from being able to do it? Because you pulled off some amazing things, and yes, the tools are there. There's a lot of tools there, but
Yeah.
really, what do we have to do to really get to that next level? I think that's what modern manhood has been like, especially for our men. Like, how do we get to the next level? What does that
Yep.
look like, and how we can create the behaviors that allows us to exemplify that in a distinct manner, that it serves
Yeah.
us, really empowers us, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a
Mhm.
huge thing. So, all right, we appreciate you guys tapping in. What's up, Tim? If you with me, man, throw up two fingers. You know what I'm saying? Flash me to do this a little bit. I appreciate you joining me today, my brother. Sharing your story, doing everything that you've been doing. Definitely continue pushing out. You got to do the poem. Matter of fact, before I pull this up, do the poem first, cause I
I
know
got you.
Q's gonna come back and she's gonna want to hear this.
I got you. The too good to be true. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready?
All right. Too good to be true. Page 55 of the book, A Letter to My Children. All this is on omariaa.com. Too good to be true. It must be a facade because there is no way you live the life you portray. How did you manifest it while dodging your fate? It's too good to be true. You aren't supposed to be this way. You're supposed to be dead or in jail, with your family living in perpetual dysfunction. Is what they think, yet they won't say because they know better. It's too good to be true. They are upset that I'm amazing, that I make superb decisions instead of atrocious mistakes. It's too good to be true. Envious of my maturity and envious of my solidarity, both of which I exude daily. They hate that I stepped up to the plate. It's too good to be true. 2 degrees? No way. 3 kids and a wife who looks like him? No way. Becoming a husband before becoming a father? No way. It's too good to be true. Committed toward building up his community instead of feeding on it for nourishment like a parasite or a vulture? No way. It's too good to be true. A criminal law firm? A nonprofit? A podcast? And an entertainment company? Why do you own so many businesses anyway? It's not like they will succeed. It's too good to be true. There is no way he is this reliable, this consistent, and this dependable. It's too good to be true. They are upset that I am on a different level, both intellectually and spiritually. It's too good to be true. How I don't want or need their confirmation as they desperately seek mine. It's too good to be true. How I don't want their love or their hate. How I don't want their compliments or their criticisms. How I don't want to speak to or interact with. How I consistently stay quiet, letting my work speak for itself as the camera records and tells the story. Shout out to the camera, too. It's too good to be true. So they knock me and throw slick jabs. If I react, they will press charges. They will call me unprofessional and threatening. They will explain how they felt intimidated and that my actions were unwarranted. It's too good to be true. They will explain how they were the victims of my vicious attack, and I am a predator, a deranged animal lacking discipline and integrity. But I ask myself, why? Because they feel overwhelmed by you. The way you speak, the way you dress, the way you walk in your dominating presence. It's too good to be true. You should change it and do it this way. You should be more open and be more vocal. When I am vocal, they say, I don't like that and I don't like this. The work I present, they quickly dismiss. So I ask, what ideas do you have? They answer, I don't know. Why are you questioning me? You are making me feel pressured and uncomfortable. The only ideas they have are things that I should change. Instead of providing original thoughts about progress, all they have is regurgitated politically correct statements. Their focus is on tearing me down instead of building all of us up. It's too good to be true. Their focus is why it won't work instead of what will make it work. Their focus is on who instead of what and why, all because it's too good to be true. And I accept it. Society and the media has programmed us. They have programmed us to think certain ways, to assume instead of inquire, to be pessimistic instead of optimistic, to be hateful and judgmental instead of understanding and empathetic. So maybe, just maybe, they are right. Maybe I am too good to be true. That's fire.
That's powerful, bro. Powerful. I got a snap. That was a snap. You can't clap. You can't clap whenever you
So you
know.
can't clap.
It's
Yeah.
poetry etiquette.
And so
Well, bro, I
really
appreciate you.
that's came from insecurities, man. Insecurities on paper and different things I've felt when I walk in a room and different conversations that I've overheard people saying and conversations I've had with supervisors and coworkers. And I just wrote them down on a piece of paper and stitched it together and made it into a story. as I
That's
release that energy
amazing.
for myself.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's well articulated, communicated. It was fire, bro. That's powerful. So Q, there you go. My man just dropped the poem. Y'all can get his book. He told you where to get it. AmariAA.com. I
Yep.
should have put that on the thing so it could have showed up on there. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what we got going on because Modern Man has a lot of different things that we're doing. That we are now a 501c3, which I'm happy about that.
Hmm.
Also, shout out to Amari for his nonprofit because it's needed, it's necessary. More of us have to start being pinnacles of what we want to see in our community. Um, we got our man cave group. If you guys looking for a safe space to come together, discuss whatever you're dealing with in life, we got brothers that's dope inside our group. Friday morning freestyle. If you guys see every single Friday, we doing a live podcast. We have our live masterclass experience. Have you been able to catch the masterclass yet, bro?
I think I came to one where we did the mirrors. We had the mirrors, and we wrote
Perfect.
down what.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The values, yeah. So he's got the 10. Appreciate you showing up. All right. Wellness 101. It's a new program that we have. This is actually a program for everybody in the community. And it dissects different aspects of wellness from economics, health, mindset. This is a program that me and Damon have put together that is phenomenal. This has been important in my life because it's difficult to understand balance. So you can be driving really hard when it comes to finances, but neglecting other aspects of your nourishment. This thing is a whole program that's tailored to not even just identifying, but having solutions so we can get equally balanced. Can't wait to pull it out. We have sex education for fathers. We're not just discussing the birds and the bees. We are discussing healthy dialogue around sex as caregivers having conversations with our kids. That's jumping off February 21st. We have a national syndicated science-based curriculum fatherhood program, bro. Fire. So we got a thing called Dope Dad University that's going to be popping up. And we also have ACEs training. Shout out to Dr. Damon. He is now ACEs training. ACE, Adverse Childhood Experiences. If you guys have never looked this up, definitely look it up. It tells about how trauma has lifelong impacts in our lives. So a lot of us are carrying a lot of trauma that we don't realize. I recognize it as far as my health, but there is a series of questions that shows if you experience this during your childhood, it is prone and more likely to have certain type of reactions in your life. All right, get active. My manhood. Let me make sure what else we got on this slide. Oh, my brother Amari. Look at this. All right, a father, husband, published author, film producer, recording artist, criminal law paralegal, vocational teacher, and a podcast host. If you want to connect with my brother, he talked about the Black Excellence Gallery. You know, the store that he has with a lot of amazing merchandise. I got to get some on there so I can rock it, but I definitely have his book. I have watched the film. I'm going to watch it again because now I have a different insight now that we've had a conversation with it. So, my brother, I appreciate you tapping in with me today. I hope you all have an amazing, amazing Friday and weekend. Make sure y'all share this episode. Tag your friends. Tell them they need to go back and listen to this. All right, my brother. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me and allowing me
Of
to,
course.
probe you a little bit to get into your brain and see what you be
Yeah.
thinking about because I be wondering a lot because you have a lot of amazing ideas.
I appreciate
Um,
that. If
and thank
possible,
you
let
for
me leave the people with a quote, if it's okay with you.
let's do it. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna say it twice because I don't think they'll catch it the first time. Respectfully, every step I take toward my death is another step toward my success, and so I step. And so I'm gonna say that again. Every step I take toward my death is another step toward my success, and so I step.
Let's go. I like it, bro. I like it. Hope y'all received that well. That's gonna be really a second thought. Like, how are you moving towards, that graveyard?
Woo.
Are you making steps as getting you towards the phrase that you would like to see on that tombstone? Because the only thing that matters is that dash. What you do between those two dates is all that matters. It's that dash. Let's
Mm.
go.